Hey guys, this is Richard. This is actually my first YouTube video that I'm going to publish about me trying out different software tools. Today I'm trying out a new app called ProcessKit. It's started by this guy named Brian Cassell, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his last name, who's kind of an influencer, famous person on the internet, really famous for productized services. So I've read a lot of his stuff. If you haven't followed him before, you should take a look at his Twitter or take a look at his website. And he's basically building this application called ProcessKit. You can see that here, processkit.com. So I did notice that they recently launched on Product Hunt, so I wanted to give the app a try. To give you a little bit of context, I work on a business called Design Stack, and we build custom Squarespace websites without code for basically small businesses and entrepreneurs, mostly in the professional services industry. And our product is, or our service is very much a productized service. And we're actually in the middle of adding a couple of other services. So to date, we've only been doing web design specifically for Squarespace, but we are also currently revamping our processes, and we're starting to offer other services like branding and copywriting, as well as planning to open up other platforms in the future. So with all of that happening with the business, I really wanted to figure out a new system that we could implement to really make sure that everything is streamlined, nothing falls through the cracks, and something that can really accommodate multiple people working on projects at the same time. So far, we've only had one designer, my co-founder Kathleen, on the team, and she's been doing everything on the design side. But as we move forward and as we create more complex projects, where say branding and copywriting, web design all interact with one another, and we have different people working on these different things, then I wanted a proper project management solution. To tell you a little bit about where we're coming from, we currently have we can't currently handle all of our project management in Asana, and Asana is okay. I think it's really flexible as a tool, so I think getting started, and it's free. Getting started, it's a really good way to just get off the ground, have to put something together, and that's been working for us for we've been doing this business now for about 3 years or so. So one downside of with Asana that I've been having some trouble with is like doing more automation with Zapier and Airtable and all these sorts of things. Like I'm trying to basically get to the point where we can automate as much of the solution as possible. So hence I'm looking for a new solution. I've been playing around with another tool called Process Street. I can show you guys that here. And that's been pretty cool. I can do another separate video on that. It's basically a checklist tool where you basically create checklists and then you will generate new checklists based off that template. And you can assign this checklist to different people. So it does kind of sound a little bit similar to ProcessKit, but let's see how ProcessKit goes. Okay, so this is the first screen after you get into the initial setup. So this is kind of like the dashboard, I imagine. This is my first time seeing it, so I'll just kind of talk aloud, kind of like a usability test. So let's move my head over to the right side. On the left side, we have projects, we have types, and then specific projects. Okay, so this is probably similar to that concept that I was just mentioning with Process Street, which we can create different types of projects. Let's go ahead and get started based on our business. So we have Squarespace custom website. And then let's also add, oh, maybe it's because I was playing with it before. Squarespace custom website, let's do branding. And then let's also do one more copywriting. This looks like a bug. Not quite sure what's happening there. Can you do multiple? Oh, that was probably a bug. Brian, if you're watching this, just one thing to point out. And let's delete this empty project here. Okay, interesting. So we can set things as default. Let's go ahead and set my Squarespace custom website as a default. I don't really know what that means, but it's our most common project type, so let's try that. Okay, so now I've got a button over here. You can add a project. What's this drop down? Same thing. Okay, let's try that. Project type. Okay, we'll select Squarespace custom website, and then let's call it Richard's cool website right here. Interesting. Okay, so we created the project based off of that particular project type, which is a Squarespace custom website. Okay, so here's project type here, and then here's the title of the project. So let's see what I'm seeing. I've got different tabs here: details, tasks, and activity. Okay. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna guess things mean. Activity is just a log of the different things that have happened in ProcessKit related to this project. Can add first comment, let's say. Okay, so it's kind of just like a feed of things happening. You created a Squarespace custom website. Okay, sure. Tasks. Okay, interesting. Select a process. Okay. So what I'm seeing here is looks like I can generate a process task list. So it sounds like I'm trying to understand the mental model of how ProcessKit works, but it sounds like you have project as like the primary entity, and then within project you have different sets of processes. And these processes are kind of like checklists that are predefined and then can be copied into a new thing. Since I don't have a process right now, I suppose I should create a new one. Okay, and I can create it in line. Interesting. I was kind of expecting to be taken elsewhere where I'd be seeing all of my tasks all of my processes in one place, kind of like a dashboard. And then I can pick and choose there or create or whatever, but maybe that'll happen later. Let's see. Task list title. So let's say the first thing is for this new project, let's say, I'm trying to think about what would be the trigger to start this project. So let's suppose that our client or our customer just closed the deal and submitted our intake form with their instructions. So I suppose the first thing that I'll want to do is review client, or let's review project instructions. Instructions, task list title. Confused. Okay, I thought it was start adding tasks. That was not clear to me. Okay, I guess one problem I'm having is like how to scope a process, how big of a process, like, there are many things, like probably tens of things that I need to be doing for a particular project. So I haven't quite thought about how I want to segment my processes. Let's just say that this particular process, let's just chunk it up pretty cleanly and say, um, da, da, da. I'm thinking clarify requirements or approve requirements. I'm not quite sure if the language should be more focused around what I'm doing or the outcome that I want. Let's go with the outcome. Improve client instructions. Create task list. Okay, so we have add another task list settings, add a task. Okay, it looks like this project can hold a number of task lists. This is one task list, and I suppose that it can hold multiple task lists. Okay, so let's just add a task. Let's try that. Okay, here's a little editor for creating a task. Let's say review intake form and add clarification. Now let's just say add clarification questions to intake form. Okay, task description, read through, project intake form, add clarification questions as a Google comment. It's a Google Doc. Okay, save and add another. Okay, at this point, I just need to send, let's say notify client. I just want to save. Okay, save and finish. Okay. Well, that's that. Approve client instructions. And then I'm not sure what to do next. So that's one set of instructions to do. And then when the client gets back to me, so this is a bit tricky because it kind of loops. When the client gets back to me with their responses, then we kind of reinitiate this and add any more clarifications, and we keep looping in that cycle until everything is clarified. So what other options do we have here? Okay, these look like, oh, okay, so you can update descriptions with this button, or you can change due dates with this button. Okay, let's see. So then I suppose if we did another task list, it could be build homepage. Okay, I wonder where my other task list went. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I was expecting, like, maybe because the button is here on the right side, I was actually expecting it to populate horizontally. This works as well as the drop down. So you have these two tasks. So you have the approve client instructions, and then you have build homepage. Let's say create new Squarespace site. Populate build homepage, let's say. Content. Customize styles. Let's say it's done. Actually, and then we'll do send to client. Okay, they've got different things here. Okay, it's fine. It's kind of like a rich text editor. Let's go ahead and save and finish. Okay, so we have a couple of things here. One thing is I'm thinking about order right now. So that actually worked out that these are in the right order, but I wonder if we can hide order. What does that mean? I'm confused by that. I don't really know why I would hide the order. Does that just mean these things can run independently? Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's just keep it on. So, okay, let's see. Assign people, just assign me. Okay, cool. And this kind of looks like Zapier. It kind of looks and feels like that. And I imagine probably some of these steps can be automated with Zapier and other apps. Okay, so that's the tasks. Let's see if activity logged any of these things. Okay, no, the activity is kind of independent from the tasks, I suppose. Maybe unless I complete something, I'm not sure. Okay, cool, you can check it to say it's done. Okay, so now details. All right, we have fields, description, project, start date, end date, create a field. Okay, so we can create a new field, add some notes. This is a brand new website for let's call it a professional speaker. Okay, So I suppose that we could include any of our uh, project information that would be helpful for our designers or any of our experts to work in here. Okay, start date and date. All right, looks good. Projects would be like a high-level overview of the projects. Okay, so I imagine creating more of these projects would come here. Okay, so now I see that's what we mean by default. I'll just click that and then it'll generate a new. Okay. Processes. Create one. Okay. New groups. Gotcha. Okay, so these are interesting. So I guess one thing that I would have expected is I created a process on the fly for that particular project, and I guess I would have expected I was expecting that that template would be generated as well and duplicated here. So at least I'd have a couple of initial processes to work with. So I suppose that I can create one here um, and call this, I don't know, first draft. Submit first draft. Okay, similar kind of workflow. Let's go back to processes. Okay, so then I imagine when I create a new project, I can grab it from here. I think in the onboarding flow, what would have been better for me as a user is to make that a little bit more clear. Maybe like teach me how to create a process first, or something like that. And then the second thing that I felt a bit strange about was creating that process on the fly in the project, but then it not being uh, shown here. And then cool, makes sense. I can group projects together. So call it web design projects. We can do, let's call sales, however I want to group the things. Okay, seems reasonable. What else do I have here? People. So these are the team members. I'm the only one on this right now. So you can see me, administrator, user, invite someone. Okay. You can put in their email address, set their permission levels. I guess one question is I don't know what permissions people have. Yeah, I'm not sure where that information is actually. Just kind of assumes that I know. Okay, so that's that. And then, oh, I didn't even realize that interaction. So I actually thought I was always going over this icon to show the dropdown. But what's actually happening is that when you hover over, it's kind of like a drawer and it slides out and shows you the full items. Um, okay, that works. I was just not accustomed to that. And then, huh? Oh, that does the same thing. Okay. Maybe if it's a drawer, then like the whole thing comes out. I don't know. It feels like there's one, two, three, four. It feels like there's four elements that I can engage with, but it's actually just two, two. And then when this opens up, I can click on one of them. Okay, that seems like a pretty decent overview. Yeah, I think my next steps would be to, in order to try testing this out, is to input more project types and run it with a couple test projects. I am actually curious to see what sorts of Zapier integrations they have. Because I think I did see that Brian mentioned somewhere that there is that they do have a Zapier integration. Okay. I think it would be nice to see that somewhere on this page. Okay, integrations. ProcessKit on Zapier. Okay, cool. API key, so they make it very easy to, that's great. Instructions. Okay, that's a dead page. All right. You have been invited to use ProcessKit on Zapier. Cool, cool. Okay, so I really just want to know what triggers and actions are available to me on Zapier before I sign up. Maybe I just accept. Okay, well, let's just create a new Zap. We're gonna do ProcessKit by invite. Okay, let's try this out. A new project is created. A task is completed. Okay, cool. All right, and then I will, what if we wanted to do something else? I guess I can always go back and try that out again. All right, let me see. Okay, let's see this. ProcessKit. See actions, create a project, create a task list from a process template, update a project. Okay. Seems like all the usual suspects. I think this could be pretty powerful. I'm glad that they decided to integrate with Zapier pretty early on because that's huge and it like opens up a lot of possibilities for ProcessKit before actually building a lot of things themselves. So that's great. And I think that wraps up my overview, my first look of ProcessKit. If you liked what I said, comment, subscribe, do whatever on YouTube. This is my first one, so still very new to this. And we'll see you guys next time.